Captain.
I'm curious, did Wall-E inspire Five Nights at Freddy's developers? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Elondhar. I'm Andrew J. Freeman, your host. If you enjoy adventures, please join me as I review animated movies and shows from a Christian biblical perspective. Our quest? To discover what is gold and what is garbage. We'll analyze movies and shows for their aesthetics, function, story structure, music, and morals. So, without further delay, let's begin our journey. Wall-E. Released on June 27, 2008 by Disney Pixar. Directed by Andrew Stanton, produced by Jim Morris, music by Thomas Newman, and distributed by Walt Disney Pictures and Pixar Animation Studios. Its budget was $180 million, with a box office of $532.5 million, so that's a tremendous profit. It has an IMDb rating of 8.4 out of 10, which is higher than the average of 6.7 to 7.0. It also has 95% Rotten Tomatoes, which is higher than the 60% mark. This film includes some notable cast members. We have Ben Burtt, a sound designer for Star Wars, Indiana Jones, E.T., and Star Trek. We have Alyssa McKnight, stand-up comedian Jeff Garlin, Kathy Najima, and Fred Willard. Fun fact, the movie also has John Ratzenberger, who has played various characters in every single Pixar film from 1995 through 2020. Wall-E has also received numerous awards. So, let's see if this film was worth the trophies. Alright, so the movie begins with a view of stars in outer space as violins and cellos strike staccato notes from the song Put On Your Sunday Clothes from the 1969 Hello, Dolly film. You know, I'm getting Star Wars vibes just watching this. However, the music is slightly jarring to me. The singer sounds goofy, like Weird Al. I understand that the movie uses the song's lyrics to convey wonder for space, but the tune does not fit the sci-fi theme. I expected exciting orchestral scores expressing ethereal beauty or thrilling adventure into the unknown galaxies. The movie shows us shots of outer space. There are planets, a Milky Way, a nearby star, a nebula, and a view of an entire galaxy revolving. I'm enjoying the stars and sunlight, the flares and glares of the sun. Now, we see Earth with a hazy and brownish atmosphere. We zoom into Earth quickly past a heap of trash. The music grows brighter and lighter as we pass some mist. The movie has created a sarcastic and ironic tone. We had a majestic view of space that gave me awesome sensations. The song expressed us embarking on a grand adventure and beholding Earth's beauty. Now, however, we see trash heaps, abandoned factories and manufacturing plants, power lines, brown atmosphere, and a neglected city. So, the movie wants us to laugh about the irony here, but it also intends to captivate our eyes. We're left asking, where are the humans and animals? Does the happy-go-lucky song indicate a glimmer of hope? The movie shows us that Earth is abandoned and post-apocalyptic. The music fades out, and the wind howls eerily. The music returns through a filtered radio speaker as something rises on the paths between the trash heaps and buildings. This something is a robot that grabs trash and smashes it into its belly, compresses it, and then spits it out again into a nice square block of trash. Is this movie proto-Minecraft? Mojang released it a year later in 2009. I'm curious if Wall-E inspired Mojang to make Minecraft. The robot continues his dream Minecraft build of trash buildings and perfect trash blocks as he and the cockroach interact. He pulls out a trash can lid. He turns off the song, picks up his lunch container, tries to take the cockroach with him, giggling as the creature runs through his body. Okay, I thought he was on level ground this entire shot with the cockroach. It's impressive that he's this high. So, this shot tells me that the robot built all these trash towers. First off, that must be extremely boring and long. Second, this is genuinely a proto-Minecraft design. There's this gorgeous music score for the next 25 seconds. A harp strums chords up and down a scale mysteriously and exquisitely, as cellos and violins richly echo in the background. This only increases my curiosity for what happened to Earth and the humans. The movie captures the robots scampering on the ground and shows the surrounding city. Notice the by and large superstores, gas stations, money, sports, food, fashion, and banks. This business dominated the city. The harp music continues. The robot runs over a by and large Times magazine. According to the newspaper, the by and large CEO said there's too much trash. That is probably why the humans left. So trash and the inability to re-inhabit Earth appear to be conflicts in this movie. Also, notice how the CEO resembles Richard Nixon with his hand gestures. Notice the sign on the left. Do your part. Fill your cart. That means everyone needs to collect as much trash as possible to keep the Earth healthy. Today's global crisis prevention message is, do your part, stay 6 feet apart. So now we understand the robot's significance to Earth and why it exists. The humans build robots called Wall-E to help collect and contain the trash in concentrated areas. The movie shows us only one, so where are the others? Will he be the protagonist? If so, how will he bring about change? The rest of the Wallies have run out of battery, power, and charge. Only one has survived so long. But why has he endured and the others have not? What's so special about him? The Wally replaces his grousers and tracks with the battery-dead Wallies. The same instrumental music plays, but this time the harp is in the background while the violins and cellos dominate the music and intensify. Interesting. So the movie shows us that the humans left for outer space because of the trash abundance on Earth. Meanwhile, the Wallies would stay and clean up the mess, and eventually, the humans could return. But that plan has failed. The screen shows the by and large fleet, the Axiom, a paradise ship where the humans can live safely and relax without fear. I love how the movie gives us the story's plot without directly narrating it. Instead, it indirectly expresses the plot by showing us Earth's scenery, the garbage, and human absence. It accomplishes this through small Easter eggs littered throughout the city. Bravo, movie! This method keeps me engaged because everything is a mystery, and I want to know more. While the screen played, Wally was still moving away. So the camera now zooms in beyond the screen to the edge of a highway where the robot is still moving. I love how intentional the animators were about travel time, distance, and camera angles. However, I think it was too quick for Wally to arrive from the screen's location to where he is now in 35 seconds. So, I think the animators could have shortened the distance or prolonged the video. Now we see what the acronym WALL-E stands for. Waste, Allocation, Load, Lifter, and Earth Class. I love how the camera keeps moving and following Wally's movements. It's not too shaky that it bothers my eyes. It's excellent and adds to the professionalism. Wally opens the door to a garage or shuttle, and we see rubber ducks and bowling pins inside. Soft and innocent Christmas-like bells play with a gorgeous violin melody that gives a homely feeling of warmth and safety. Wally pulls a tape out of a toaster. The music turns to minor key as Wally places the tape into a recorder, plays more music from a low dolly, and watches it on TV. There's all kinds of items in Wally's place. Some might be Easter eggs. I'm not going to name all of them, but you have tires, a no smoking sign, bathroom gender signs, a sewing machine, a basketball, and much more. Wally pulls out his trash can lid and tries to imitate the singers in the movie, picking up their hats and placing them on their heads. Hey look, a Rubik's Cube. Can any of you solve these? Wally is attracted by the romantic scene in the movie as the man and woman hold hands and sing. As a robot, he is susceptible to emotions of affection. Wally folds his hands like how the man and woman hold hands. The last lyric to the song is the word long. Wally longs for something more to his dull life of picking up trash alone with a cockroach. This movie needs to show Wally finds satisfaction and fulfill his longings for companionship and happiness. Wally goes outside to bang his lunchbox. Is he cleaning out the box from dust or just expressing his anger that he's alone? The wind howls eerily, and we see a hole of stars through the clouds. Wally tries to create another romantic moment. He plays the music and stares up into the stars as seen on his eye goggles. The wind growls and an alarm sounds as a massive sandstorm approaches. My word, that sandstorm is sprinting to Wally. It makes me a little anxious, and I hope that Wally stays safe. Wally shows that he's a little stupid as he tries to bang his box while more dust from the storm collects in it. That's kind of Wally to wait for the cockroach to get in safely. Safe inside his home, Wally pulls out a Twinkie and gives it to the cockroach, who buries himself inside it. This is both a cute and cunning Easter egg. There's a decades-long joke that cockroaches and Twinkies will survive a nuclear bomb. In this movie's apocalyptic setting, we see both things together, weathering the storm. Wally stays true to his Minecraft roots and becomes a box to sleep. Wally wakes up and we see an inside view of his eyes. I love the detailed attention here. He has 3 modes: a zoom, lock, and power level. He's low on solar energy and groans loudly as he struggles to open the door. Look at the dust wave blowing over the ground. The animators did amazingly with the details and realistic feel of this movie. Wally powers up through solar energy and then feels regenerated for a new day. The music has an innocent, unsuspecting tone with horns and violin plucks as Wally continues his chores. Whoa! Wally crushed the cockroach and looks down with grief. The creature somehow survived, and Wally sighs with relief. This is funny and suspenseful slapstick humor. Wally continues his daily chores of cleaning up trash and converting it into boxes. He picks up a bra, whistles, then wears it like glasses. Wally sounds a car alarm with his keys. Wally beats himself mercilessly with a paddle ball. I love this movie's irony. Wally stumbles with a fire extinguisher. I love this light transition and time-lapse. We see the morning, afternoon, and evening light casting its shadows on the different objects and altering the scene's appearance throughout the day. Also, I would not want to be Wally. This job looks tedious and pointless. Wally can weld with his head. This scene is pretty as Wally finds a tiny green plant in a refrigerator. The music's quiet violins and whistle fills us with awe and wonder for nature. I love the blur and camera focus shift. Wally brings the plant home. He notices a red laser light, and it begins to move. Wally chases it around the city. Now there's an army of red laser lights. Ominous music plays with suspenseful drum strokes, violins holding, and horns growing louder. The red dot helps direct the ship above the land. Okay, but why did the one dot move like someone was holding a laser and trying to lure Wally? And why did the rest of the dots move uniformly and stiffly like an incoming army away line? There needs to be more consistency with the dots. I know the single dot creates a comic effect that draws Wally to the ship, but why should it move around so wildly while the rest operate normally? Wally buries himself in the ground to escape the rocket blast. With an adorable, nervous voice, Wally emerges from the scorched ground and magma rocks. That echo sounded like a bomb exploding far away. Drums beat quietly as Wally inspects the landed ship. I love the astounding detail of the gas and smoke emerging from the ship. The harp music returns as the ship places a sizable object on the surface. An extension protrudes from the device and scans the ground with a blue laser. It collapses, and an egg-shaped object stands alone. An uplifting and peaceful harp with violins play as a white robot with blue eyes and floating head and arms gains consciousness. The white robot starts scanning the ground with a blue laser and is searching for something. How did the robot not hear Wally? The shuttle launches into space, and Wally buries himself again. We get a short Star Wars sounding song. When the ship leaves, the robot begins to fly around freely. A lovely harp and violin song plays.
Wow.
It kindles a sensation of adventure and excitement. A Christmas bell joins the song. Then a sci-fi outer space sounding synthesizer adds to the effect. It reminds me of Mario Galaxy, which is an absolutely beautiful game. The robot lands. Wally stares behind a rock, drops something, and the robot turns angry in focus, then immediately fires a laser bolt at the rock that creates a mushroom cloud effect. The robot does a Clint Eastwood-style gun flip and walks away. The movie gives us an ironic humor. Like Wally, we watch the robot with awe and curiosity as wonderful music played. Now, its sudden reaction and combat-ready features gives us the startling reality that this robot is very dangerous. Now we hear some Star Wars-y music of investigation, mystery, and an ominous hint of peril. The cockroach boldly approaches the robot, and just as we thought Wally crushed him earlier, we think the robot just blasted him into a gazillion pieces. The immortal cockroach emerges from the hole, and the robot converts her gun into a hand with fingers to pick up the insect. The robot squints his eyes and tries blasting Wally. It scans Wally, puts on a bored face, and walks away without another word. The song Levy and Rose by Louis Armstrong plays as Wally follows a white robot as it scans the city for something. As Wally attempts to follow the robot, he gets into clumsy situations and gets wrecked by a stampede of carts. So far, the movie enjoys slapstick, cartoon violence, and irony. The white robot goes to sleep when nightfall comes. The detail's so good. Look how objects reflect off the robot's white and black body. Wally tries to impress the robot by building a primitive statue. He's disappointed when she flies away. The robot begins to get impatient with its unsuccessful mission. It gets stuck on the ship's magnet, loses its temper, and destroys the entire ship and starts a chain reaction. So, the white robot is temperamental and choleric. As the world burns, Wally inches closer to the white robot. It turns around and startles him. It tries to discover what language Wally speaks. Wally tries impressing the robot by discharging a deflated trash block. The white robot introduces itself as Eve, and its voice sounds feminine, so it is a she, while Wally is a he. Wally seems a bit weird and borderline predatory. This whole time he's been stalking Eve and trying to get close to her. Maybe he's just lonely and socially awkward, so he doesn't understand social and personal boundaries. Also, I can understand how he's eager to interact with other robots because he's been stuck on Earth for a long time. Wally tries to warn Eve about the storm. She instead pulls her gun on him because he tries to grab her. She's very aggressive and quick to distrust others. Honestly, the movie has made me dislike her so far. Wally has a cheerful and delightful personality, and she is too blind to realize. Somehow, the robots make it through the sandstorm alive to Wally's shelter. Wally lights up his home with scattered hanging white and colored lights as a flute plays a wonderstruck tone in the background. Merry Christmas, everyone! Aw, what a sweet scene, both literally and metaphorically. Wally shows Eve his collection. We watch Eve accidentally destroy items and amuse herself with others. Eve solves the Rubik's Cube while Wally and I scratch our heads in amazement. Wally inserts his tape and plays a movie for Eve as she scans the humans on the television screen. Wally grabs a trash can lid and begins to dance. Hilariously, Eve tries dancing like Wally, but instead smashes the floor and shakes the entire home. Wally decides to engrave himself on the side of his home. Wally loses an eye. Eve again whips out her gun as the skittish robot she is. Wally appears to try flirting with Eve by showing off his new eye. The wind howls softly outside as the two stare at each other for several seconds. This movie favors a slow pace and gives us generous moments of silence to absorb the scene. This is too long and should transition to another scene faster. I got a little bored watching him bob his eyes. Wally sighs and stares at Eve longingly. I cringed as Wally extended his hand to Eve. He's too eager for romance that he makes it awkward and discourages Eve from embracing him. So Eve was hesitant with Wally holding hands or hugging her earlier. Now, she's fine with him tapping her. Why didn't she pull out her gun like before? Where's the consistency? Wally shows Eve the plant he found. She scans it, becomes paralyzed by some programming inside her, scoops the plant into her belly, then powers down. I'm unsure why the lights went out, unless her power down somehow affected all the electricity in Wally's home. A large green circle light on Eve with a plant symbol flashes. Cellos strum ominously, and an exotic-sounding flute blows softly and periodically. Now that's an interesting reflection. Pixar was incredibly intentional with graphics, scene angles, and movement. Wally brings Eve outside his home and hopes that she'll awake from her power down. This guy is a resilient robot. In terms of slapstick, Wally is the robotic Donald Duck who takes all the hits. I hope you all know how to use these chords. Merry Christmas, everyone. How romantic. Wally is showing a selfless concern for Eve. Although she expresses little interest for him, Wally's determined to make a new friend and experience the affection that two friends can have. He shows us that he is kind and tries to help Eve in her helpless state instead of abandoning or taking advantage of her. He wants to experience a true friendship with Eve and seeks to restore her consciousness so he can. By the way, this is some nice relaxing beach music with some 80s synthesizers and an accordion. This light change from night to day is impressive. Look how the TV screen's light fades. Wally's mysterious and adventurous theme song plays as he leaves Eve to continue his daily routine. Wally sees an incoming ship and rushes back to Eve before he can take her away. Is that the same trash can lid Wally had before? Why else would the movie show this scene? Wally desperately calls to Eve as the ship places her inside it. He temporarily puts aside his selfish desire to be with Eve and orders his cockroach friend not to follow him. Wally ensures that his friend/pet stays safe amid the outward chaos and emotions raging inside him. I enjoy Wally's altruistic concern for his cockroach friend. The ship launches as Wally climbs a side ladder. Is this the one movie where we can genuinely adore cockroaches and call them cute? Wally and the ship push through a field of obsolete satellites and enter space. Now I'm filled with lots of excitement, anticipation, and curiosity. For 30 minutes, we've been confined to a desolate and disgusting Earth. Now, we can potentially see more life and watch what conflicts Wally, the protagonist, must overcome. Wally is stunned by the universe's majesty. This is what he's desired his whole life. This is unrealistic. Wally and the ship would have melted since they are this close to the sun. This is a sublime photo. I love the contrasting color palettes. We had the bright, fiery orange and red sun. Now we have a cool, calming, ethereal blue. The music is gorgeous and invokes a sense of uncertainty, admiration, and exploration. Within the purple nebula cloud sits a massive ship called the Axiom, the one we saw in the advertisements on Earth. Wally and the ship land in the Axiom. Some machine hands and claws remove Eve from the shuttle. A small robot with a cute voice appears and assembles a cleaning crew to clean the ship. The cleaning crew cleans Eve and all the other robots. The cleaning leader panics when he sees how filthy Wally is and tries cleaning him in his tracks. Wally can be an annoying troller. I haven't seen this side of him yet. Another tiny robot approaches, scans Eve, and an alarm sounds as the whole room turns green. An arm places Eve on a cart, and Wally follows her on an elevator away from the docking bay. The little cleaning robot discovers Wally's dirty tracks. He reluctantly but courageously leaves his line of travel to clean it. I'm very disappointed that there's no elevator music. Wally enters a massive hallway where robots and droids follow the white lines like a real-life highway at high speeds. He causes a traffic jam in search of Eve. For no specific reason, the robots here move slower. Also, we finally see the first animated humans in the movie. They are sitting in chairs following the traffic pattern. They are dressed in spandex red and white suits with ubiquitous double chins and fat bodies that make me cringe just looking at them. Worst of all, they are very lazy, boring, and unsocial. Now we see lots of humans in their own section of the ship, all sitting on their mobile seats, talking to their screens instead of each other face to face. Their screens are also filled with lots of temptations of advertisements for food and entertainment. A blonde-haired man orders Wally to take his cup. Wally is confused and does not respond. The man leans over so far towards Wally that he falls off his chair and cannot get up. They're just like ginormous helpless babies and blobs of jelly. It's pathetic. These bots are completely useless to the man. This may be the first sign of the robot's ultimate unhelpfulness and insufficiency towards humans. Wally and the man, called John, exchange names, and he continues pursuing Eve. How is there an open spot conveniently for Wally? And why does the blue shield go up right after Wally enters the shuttle? Movie, why make this too convenient for our protagonist? It could be more complex and realistic. Here, the movie shows the robots indoctrinating the children's minds by manipulating them to believe that the Axiom is their home and by and large is their best friend. Ugh, that's so gross. Who wants hot dogs, burgers, and fries and Slurpee?
Beautiful.
It's the new year. Oh, stunning. Right?
That's a sarcastic joke. So the advertisement models are a muscular and healthy family, while all the real humans are inflated balloons of flabby fat. Perhaps the robots keep the aesthetic models to convince the humans that they are well off. The woman complains she can't find a good man because they're all superficial. Wow, Pixar is packing sarcastic punches everywhere. They are all superficial and lack personalities. Wally interrupts the woman and closes her screen. She looks around the ship with confusion and wonder. She acts like she's never seen it before, or any of reality. Wally points to Eve, and the woman, whose name is Mary, lets the robot through. Man, that is an impressive and convincing room. However, to think this is all just a room is depressing.
I didn't know we had a pool.
After all these years? Wally follows Eve and her carriers to a room where a red cyclop-eyed robot types keys carefully. Wally teaches it how to wave. Wally and Eve ride up an elevator to what appears to be the ship's deck. A robot shaped like the classic 18th century ship wheel scans Eve. Wally backpedals right into a circle that disappears. He falls into the captain's chambers, and the robot wheel tells the captain that he is needed on deck. The next 7 seconds are so interesting. First, look at the dates that the captain served on the Axiom. These humans are living well over 100 years and probably 200 years. Second, notice how the captains go from healthy and fit live-action humans to increasingly fatter, goofier, and more cartoon jelly blobs. Third, notice how the wheel robot gets closer to each captain as the years progress. This may allude to how the humans become more reliant on the robots, or how the robots exert more control over the humans as time progresses. I don't like how the humans were originally live action and then became animated. It's jarring and doesn't make sense because there's no aesthetic or possible connection between the two. Wally accidentally wakes up the captain with his Put On Your Sunday Clothes song. The captain goes in an elevator with Wally to the deck. The captain claps his hands to get coffee and the chair carries the sleeping man up to the robot. Look how lazy and weak he is. He has to incline his chair to reach the cup because he has no willpower or muscle to pull himself up. The captain reviews the status report and then becomes disappointed that the robot did not wake him up for morning announcements. He turns the clock back on the ship to make his announcements and admits that's the only important thing he does as captain. At this point, the captain is just the robot's useless puppet on the ship. The captain remarks that this is the 700th anniversary of the humans' 5 years cruise on the Axiom. It seems the robots exerted so much control over the humans that they manipulated them into staying on the ship by enticing them with safety, comfort, and luxury. A green light with a plant symbol interrupts the captain's announcements. The wheel droid, called Otto, informs the captain that Eve has returned with a plant specimen. The captain presses the green button. An alarm sounds and the windows shut. A screen appears, and the global CEO of By and Large tells the captain if they find plant life on Earth, it's safe to go back. Fun fact, the acronym EVE stands for Extraterrestrial Vegetation Evaluator. The CEO says it's time to start Operation Recolonize, and a red book appears, which Wally gives to the captain. Does Otto and the captain not realize the dirty droid on deck? How naive are they? The CEO says to follow the book's instructions to place the plant in the ship's holodetector. Then, the Axiom will navigate back to Earth.
Your passengers may have suffered some slight bone
It would
loss.
appear that Mr. Forthright is not being very forthright.
Operate Manuel. Wow. Will you look at that?
The captain barely knows how to read and has never handled a book in his life. Wally says hi to Eve. She tries to hide him before Otto and the uneducated captain discover him. Wally becomes paralyzed with Eve's apparent beauty and sighs at her in astonishment.
Voice authorization required. Accepted.
Now this is what I like. Some robot hands open Eve up to remove the plant, but it's missing. Otto tells the captain that they can't go back to Earth because there is no plant. The captain sends Eve to the repair ward and gets frightened when he finally realizes Wally exists. The cute robot approaches the captain, shakes his hand, introduces his name, and gets some dirt on the captain, who sends him to get clean. Wally tries to talk to Eve, but she exhibits her characteristic short temper and moody personality. Meanwhile, the captain analyzes the dirt Wally rubbed on his hand to discover more about Earth. These humans have such short attention spans. They can't understand complicated words or sentences and get bored quickly. The captain continues learning what Earth is. The movie takes us outside the ship and around it to another section. The little cleaner droid is still following Wally's dirt tracks. Some droids power down Eve, and Wally gets trapped in a jail cell. This place appears to be a dysfunctional robot prison or insane asylum. This is one of those funny jokes about a person's point of view and emotion in the same circumstance. Wally thinks Eve is being destroyed and is experiencing excruciating pain, but she is actually well cared for and having a soothing experience. Wally escapes the cell, breaks through the glass, grabs Eve's gun, and accidentally fires it backward. It hits a button that shuts down all the robot arms and releases all the dysfunctional droids from their cells. I just love watching Eve's eyes furrow slowly in reaction to Wally's stupid action. This scene makes me smile. The dysfunctional droids grab Wally and hail him as a hero. Alarms sound as guards assemble to deal with the escaped robots. Hey look! Bad photography timing makes good propaganda photos. Wally and Eve run from the robot guards.
Wally!
Okay, Eve. Constantly yelling at Wally isn't going to improve the situation.
Robots.
Eve and Wally run to an escape pod. As Eve opens the pod, the camera fades and focuses on Eve and Wally's hands. Wally is very hungry for affection and friendship because he is an optimistic and friendly robot who's been alone on Earth for 700 years. When Wally realizes that Eve is not coming with him to Earth, he exits the escape pod and refuses to leave. The same robot that scanned Eve enters a chamber leading to the escape pod, and the two robots hide. The small robot opens the pod and, interestingly, has the plant and boot. He places it inside the escape pod to send it back to Earth. So, the robots hid the plant from the captain because they do not want the humans to return to Earth. Finally, we have our antagonist, some conspiring robots planning to retain and control the humans forever. Wally runs into the pod to retrieve the plant, but the robot launches the pod before Wally can leave. He is now in the pod, with the plant, without Eve. Once the robot leaves, Eve places herself into a surface airlock, launches into space, and pursues Wally's pod. The music creates that Star Wars-y suspense vibe with horns and deep cellos. Wally accidentally hits a button that will self-destruct the pod. The pod explodes. Whoa, this scene is extraordinarily powerful. Instead of blaring music signaling defeat, there is a silence and a low humming indicating loss. Eve's voice is soft and cracked with deep emotion. The movie has convinced me that she truly cares for Wally and values his clumsy but kind personality. Her soft voice and hurting eyes touched my heart and almost watered my eyes.
Wally!
Aww. Eve is so excited to see Wally alive. Wally blows himself to Eve with a fire extinguisher and they both laugh.
Wally!
This is extremely beautiful to watch. Wally gives the plant to Eve, and she gets so excited that she shrieks with delight, hugs him fiercely, and kisses him in robot fashion. Wally is paralyzed with bliss when Eve kisses him. He is delighted to have the affection and friendship he's desired for centuries. He has achieved a goal and dream. He is presently fulfilling it. The beautiful harp and bell music of adventure and mystery plays again as it did when Eve flew around on Earth. This rendition is louder and more potent as Wally and Eve fly around space in the Axiom together. Last time, Wally sat forlornly, watching Eve enjoy her flying alone. This time, Wally has the marvelous opportunity to join Eve in a more gorgeous and superb setting. He has achieved his dream of seeing the stars, flying, and having an affectionate friend. This is truly heartwarming. But Wally hasn't entirely accomplished his goals yet, because the movie still has a half hour left. We'll discover if Wally strengthens his bonds with Eve, other robots, and the humans, or if everything falls apart in the end. Without her screen, Mary enjoys the stars in space and sees Wally and Eve. Mary removes John's screen, and together, they cheer on the flying robots. John and Mary accidentally touch hands, and they stare with amazement and confusion at each other. They say hello, and we can hope that a new friendship begins between the two. Meanwhile, the captain continues to learn what exists on Earth, including hoedowns and farms. Otto closes the screen and forces the captain to sleep to discourage the man's interest of Earth and decrease the possibility that they will ever return. Eve holds Wally and they return to the ship. Mary and John are now enjoying each other's company in the pool. It's uplifting that these humans can break through their false reality of comfort and security and experience the real world by socializing. The music transitions to being secretive and thrilling as Wally and Eve sneak through the ship. Again, Wally desires to hold Eve's hand like in the movie Hello, Dolly. They already had a fantastic time outside in space, hugging, laughing, and racing. But the robot is still determined to hold hands. To Wally, that action is like a whole new level of affection and satisfaction. For those who don't know, the word telos means an ultimate objective or purpose. If I were to describe this movie lightheartedly, Wally's telos is to hold Eve's hand. Eve notices the trash cans and realizes that she can reach the deck through them and deliver the plan to the captain. Now, we see that her eyes act like Sherlock Holmes. She can gather clues to deduce an outcome. Since he has the worst timing ever, Wally turns on some music to create a romantic scene of holding hands between Eve. She stops him and tells Wally she must get the plan to the deck. She flies past the halls and up the elevator. Okay, at first glance, I actually thought this was the real Earth in outer space. That's a good visual trick, movie. The captain is playing with an axiom model and a globe, pretending that he and the humans arrived on Earth and trying to convince himself that his motives are selfless. Eve arrives with the plan in the boot and holds it out to the captain. Soft flute music plays as the captain reverently stares and sighs at the plan. The captain illuminates because he realizes that he and the humans can return to Earth. He hooks up Eve to a screen to discover what she saw on Earth. He becomes confused, disappointed, and disenchanted with Earth's horrible appearance. Instead of bright blue skies and green pastures, trash and smoke choke Earth's atmosphere and surface. The captain's spirit revives when he recognizes Wally's favorite song and begins dancing to the tune. He applauds the plan for surviving. Then, he turns away in deep thought. Meanwhile, Eve watches the man and woman in the musical hold hands and sing. She also watches how Wally cares for her through a security camera when she powers down after she recovers the plan. She realizes how kind, gentle, and selfless Wally was toward her while helpless. Eve holds her hands like Wally does, and her face saddens with regret and longing. Meanwhile, Wally practices how he'll ask Eve to hold hands. He soon sighs, pathetic, and decides that he'll pursue Eve. Wally enters the trash hole and begins climbing up the pipe towards the deck like a boss. The little cleaning guy exits the shuttle and begins cleaning more of Wally's tracks. The captain gives the plant a drink of water and realizes that the humans need to care for the plants so they can grow. He stares at himself pensively in the reflection, at the globe, and at the plant. He has an epiphany. The humans must return to Earth to care for the plants and make it green again. The captain calls Otto down while Eve watches Wally on her security camera. I think it's heartwarming to see two momentous scenes occurring in the same room at the same time. The captain makes the crucial decision to return the humans to Earth and build a new civilization, while Eve expands her love for Wally and fully embraces his friendship. Otto sees the plan in the captain's hands and tries to stop him from placing it in the hollow detector. By the way, I really enjoy Otto's robot voice. It's commanding, tense, and fits the movie's sci-fi theme extremely well. Otto's voice transitions from emotionless and robotic to filled with desperate concern. Otto tells the captain that the humans cannot return to Earth. The captain demands why, and Otto responds that it's classified. The captain orders Otto to explain what's classified, and he activates the screen. The by-and-large CEO president explains that the Operation Cleanup failed. Thus, Operation Recolonize has also failed. The CEO says that the humans should stay in space and never return to Earth. He gives the robots full control of the ship as they autopilot through space. The captain discovers that the message was created 700 years ago. He declares that things have changed on Earth, and the plan is proof.
I can't just sit here and do nothing. That's all I've ever done. That's all anyone in this blasted ship has ever done. Nothing.
On the axiom, you will survive.
I don't want to survive. I want to live.
I love that line. It's so powerful and true. The human's life has been a false reality. They are slaves to their screens, luxuries, and the robots. The music grows louder as the captain's understanding grows. He cannot allow the robots to control his life. He cannot allow the humans to be slaves and prisoners on the ship any longer. The ship is really a mind manipulation prison. Remember how they were educating the babies? The robots convince the humans that they're safe and secure on the axiom and it's the best life possible. It's also a physical prison because the humans are so fat that they cannot move anywhere. It's also a social prison because the humans only interact virtually and are incapable of true face-to-face interaction. The music grows victorious as the captain asserts his authority. Next, Otto and another robot try to steal the plant from the captain. He orders Eve to take the plant to the hollow detector, but amid the ruckus, it falls down the trash hatch. Wally appears from the trash hatch with the plant. Eve and the captain beg Wally to give them the plant as Otto races to grab it first. The tiny robot, Go For It, stops Eve. Wally places the plant inside him, but Otto fries him and makes him fall down the trash chute. Otto powers Eve down as she screams helplessly for Wally and throws her down the hatch like him. Otto then locks up the captain in his quarters. This whole time, the humans were in a prison. Now, the captain finally understands this, and is now confined to a room like a prisoner to a cell. Eve powers up her eyes and it appears she is in a trash dump. This is a cool Easter egg. The mice in this movie are the shape of a computer mouse. Now we see some massive wall A's. Eve gets stuck in a wall A's trash block while shouting frantically for a friend. Eve finds Wally next to her, and a conveyor belt moves him into an airlock disposal. Eve escapes the trash block and tries to free Wally. Meanwhile, the cute cleaner droid enters the trash place and sees Wally. He rushes to him to try cleaning him. The airlock opens its hatch, and the trash blocks fly out to space as Eve struggles to fly Wally back to the ship. This is so cute and touching. Soft bells ring mournfully as Eve tenderly strokes the injured Wally. Meanwhile, the cleaner droid, unaware of the grave and sorrowful situation, begins cleaning Wally. Eve searches for another chip in the trash dump to replace Wally's fried chip. The cleaner droid introduces himself to Wally as M.O., then sits down again silently. And how is Wally all clean? He still looks very dirty. Whoa, this is powerful. Wally gives Eve the plan and weakly says directive. Instead of coldly following her orders, Eve tosses the plan aside and chooses to help her friend live. Now, she becomes selfless and wants to hold Wally's hand and help him. Oh my word! This next part gets even more powerful. Instead of Wally embracing what he's wanted to do his whole life, which is holding Eve's hand, he sacrifices his selfish desire for Eve and instead resolves to help the common good by bringing the plant to the captain and sending the humans back to Earth. Both Wally and Eve are winners. They have put aside certain gratifying desires to fulfill a more virtuous purpose. Eve, Wally, and M.O. blast out of the trash dump. Eve and Wally appear in the ship's hallways, and the robot guard captures a new photo of the rogue robots. Aw, what a cute little creature. Wally plays his favorite song, and lots of robots begin to follow him. From his room, the captain sees the plant and the rogue robot's photo. He hotwires some cables to send a message to Eve and Wally to bring the plant to the Lido deck because he's activated the holodetector. Otto cuts off the screen and the robots battle the guards. The captain shows his genius by pretending to hold a plant that's on another screen behind him.
Not possible.
Well, if it's not possible, why did you believe him? Otto and the captain begin to fight, and the little Go-For takes a little tumble off the cliff. The captain activates a button that shuts down all the screens, images, and luxuries of the Axiom. He basically powers down the false reality. The green plant symbol appears all over the ship, and the humans' chairs take them to the center of the Axiom. The humans do not have their screens for once, so they begin panicking at the dual ship texture and scenery. The captain opens the holodetector as Wally and Eve race to place the plant inside it. Otto loses the captain's hold and tilts the ship so the robots fall away from the detector. The humans and plant begin falling as the ship tilts. Eve searches for the boot.
John, get ready to have some kids!
Oh my, a lighthearted yet deep reference. Eve saves a group of humans from a high-velocity falling object. She holds it still as Wally tries to prevent the holodetector from closing up. In the process, he gets crushed. I love the thrilling drums and cymbals as the captain rises to his feet and stumbles to Otto to power him off. The humans cheer the captain on. He is tired of sitting around, watching others do things for him. He is tired of laziness and cowardice. He wants to live, to attain a true purpose, to make a difference. So, he challenges himself to overcome adversity.
You are relieved of duty.
Now that is an excellent before the death one-liner. The humans begin standing up because the captain has proved that they can. Meanwhile, M.O. searches for the plant, and the robots and humans work together to give it to Eve. The holodetector lifts after verifying the plant, and Wally rolls aside, crushed and nearly dead. The ship enters hyperjump, not hyperspace, which is Star Wars, and launches for Earth. We see our great friend the cockroach on Earth again. He sees the lasers and follows them to where the Axiom lands. The music is victorious and heartwarming. I'm smiling to see the humans return to their true home. The humans begin shuffling off the ship on their feet to observe and absorb Earth's scenery and air. The music grows ominous and tense as Eve desperately holds Wally. In the flash of sequences and cuts, Eve rushes through Wally's home and tries to rebuild his body and restore his energy. Eve blasts a hole through Wally's home's roof so he can receive sunlight and thus solar energy. Wally revives to fully charged status, but it appears he has lost his memory of Eve. She tries to help him remember his identity by giving him his old items and playing his favorite musical, but it's not working. Wally continues creating trash blocks, and Eve shakes him impatiently, calling out his name. Wow, this is very sad. Wally's physical shell is here, but he's a mindless animal or soulless zombie. The adorable, kind, and clumsy robot that Eve knew is gone. This is good proof that the physical appearance of anyone or anything is not what is truly important. What's truly valuable is the soul, the character, and the personality. Eve holds Wally's hand and hums a romantic song from the musical. She kisses him in robot fashion as the wind softly blows behind. The kiss and hand-holding appear to have revived Wally's spirits and memory. He looks up at her and says her name. Eve responds. Wally and Eve hold hands and place their heads against each other lovingly as the song from the musical plays. The rogue robots appear but then leave to give the two personal space. Meanwhile, the movie takes us back to the humans. The captain and children water the plant, and the humans begin their new life on Earth. I'm assuming that they have lots of food stored in the Axiom until they can start eating the vegetables and fruits that grow from the plants. And how are they going to get animals and meat? And how are they going to clean up all the trash? Well, that story is for a different movie that Pixar's not created. yet. But I think that would be a great story to see how the humans colonize the Earth, lose weight, and defeat some new threat from outside or some robot takeover within. Or maybe a group of humans want to return to a false reality imprisonment in the Axiom and try to destroy Earth again. Who knows? There are lots of other plot opportunities that Pixar could explore and employ with a WALL-E sequel. The movie ends by zooming out from the humans to WALL-E, Eve, and the droids, to hills of green plants, to the Earth and space beyond. The music fades as a single star twinkles and winks before the screen goes black and rolls credits. The credits are creative and intriguing. As the song plays, the credits show an Egyptian hieroglyphic history of the humans recolonizing Earth. They use the robots to help dig wells, construct buildings, farm, burn waste, and etc. Over time, the humans get thinner. The final scene shows WALL-E and Eve holding hands as they stare at a tall, healthy, and sturdy tree that was originally the plant in the boot. So, was WALL-E gold or garbage? Let's start with aesthetics. For 2008, the graphics were of superior quality with outstanding lighting, shadows, and particle and smoke effects. All visual effects and movements were smooth, realistic, and captivating. All sound effects, especially for the wind, robots, and ships, were awesome. The outer space graphics were spectacular. I truly felt like I was there on the Axiom or on Earth, experiencing the moment. Also, the camera movement in this movie is marvelous. It moves a lot, but in a masterful way that keeps me interested and engaged in the story. Obviously, this movie did not have much dialogue because it focused on robots who spoke little English except to repeat each other's names constantly. But the robotic voices for WALL-E, Eve, Otto, and M.O. were fantastic. The protagonists were cute and likable characters who expressed powerful emotions. The captain, John, and Mary had strong voice actors who delivered their few lines well. One thing that made the movie so great is that it was a compelling story with little dialogue. I hardly have any reasonable complaints about the aesthetics of WALL-E. Function. The movie's pace is slow. Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie was fast and tight in action and dialogue sequences. However, WALL-E allows the viewers a healthy amount of time to slowly absorb the visuals, atmosphere, theme, setting, characters, their words, eyes, emotions, lighting, and much more. There are plenty of moments where there's no music, just pure ambiance and character sound effects. They range from 5 to 10 seconds of silence that delve further into the story and world to better appreciate the characters and thematics. Story structure. The story sets up clear protagonists. WALL-E is an optimistic but lonely main character who desires relationships and communion with others. Eve is a temperamental robot eager to complete her duty but needs to learn kindness. The human captain is an ignorant man imprisoned unawares mentally and physically. He learns to leave life's comforts and luxuries to conquer his fears and become truly free from his mental and physical prison. 12 minutes into the movie, WALL-E meets a female robot, Eve. WALL-E is very friendly and kind to her. By the 30-minute mark, he gently cares for her as she powers down and becomes vulnerable to the elements. For the next hour, WALL-E pursues Eve to a new place beyond his home. He befriends her as they both endeavor to help the humans overcome the controlling and manipulative robots and return to Earth to recolonize and restore it to its former health and beauty. Along the way, they help the third protagonist, the captain, destroy his fears and embrace his desire to live. The antagonist is well disguised. For most of the movie, the actual antagonist was unclear and hazy, but finally, Otto and his minion robots emerged, and the showdown between the two opposing sides was thrilling. The movie did a great job concealing the antagonist from myself and the protagonist. Many movies often present the antagonist near the beginning, but this film did not disclose them until the second half. The antagonists were only implied, not explicit. So, the movie added a healthy flavor of suspense and mystery. I have two function and story problems here. One, remember that WALL-E holds Eve's hand as he guides her back to his home through the storm. I know the tense and dangerous sandstorm occupies his thoughts, but why does he make a huge deal over holding Eve's hand throughout the rest of the movie? The movie should have shown him startled and interested as he held Eve's hand and guided her through the storm to his home. This scene should have begun his desire to hold Eve's hand. I think it was a huge mistake to ignore this scene, because it makes WALL-E appear inconsistent and contradictory, and it makes the movie look sloppy. Second, recall that WALL-E got struck by lightning and the bolt flowed through his body, but he was perfectly fine afterwards. Then, later on in the film, Otto electrocuted WALL-E, but that time he was seriously injured. Why didn't the lightning fry WALL-E and injure him just like Otto did? These two circumstances are inconsistent with the rest of the movie. Morals. The morals in this film are outstanding. WALL-E has been stuck on Earth for over 700 years alone. He is intensely hungry for communication and relationships with others like him. When he meets Eve, he desperately tries to befriend her but is socially awkward. Eve is cold, capricious, and duty-driven to obey orders. But she finds joy and kindness in WALL-E, something she has not experienced before. As WALL-E continues exhibiting his relentless selflessness and kindness toward Eve, she learns to reciprocate that love back to Wally. Eventually, the relationship becomes mutual. They hug, kiss, laugh, fly together, and, most importantly, hold hands. Wally's reckless faithfulness, goodness, and kindness won Eve to him. Wally's virtues and ability to befriend people reminds me of Proverbs 18:24. A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Basically, if you want friends, you need to be friendly towards others. You cannot sit around waiting for people to befriend you. You must make an effort to create and strengthen friendships. How do you do this? Colossians 3:12-14 answers the question. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. To have friends, you must be loving, kind, gentle, caring, forgiving, merciful, humble, patient, joyful, peaceful, and much more. Friendship derives from a selfless concern for others, which is love. Seeing the humans on the axiom gives us a lot to think about. The dangers we need to avoid are sluggishness, laziness, and being antisocial. Aristotle wrote that humans are social animals wired to socialize with one another. More importantly, the Bible encourages friendship and Christians interacting with others to help them. As humans, we need to communicate, be selfless, care for one another, and be physically active and healthy. We need to be educated and strive to learn new things to help us live more active, exciting, and virtuous lives. Do not allow technology to control your life. Do not become a slave and prisoner to your phone, computer, video games, car, friends, food, or other things. We need to have longer attention spans and spend less time mindlessly scrolling through social media feed that doesn't benefit us at all, but only gives short spurts of dopamine that makes us feel trash later. So don't lazily waste your life doing unproductive things. Remember to take care of your part of the world and keep it healthy and clean. Take care of your body and avoid a sedentary lifestyle. Stand up more, walk around, and eat healthily. Conversely, it's spiritually and mentally healthy to sit down or stand still in silence when you're being productive. Quiet, productive activities include meditating on things like the Bible, praying to God, and pondering good things by planning to impact others positively. WALL-E is a superb movie that I would definitely watch again. It's great for the whole family to watch and contains valuable lessons. I think it's an underrated movie, and the IMDb rating should be higher. On the gold and garbage scale, WALL-E is on the gold side and is very close to being entirely gold. I encourage everyone to watch it. I also encourage everyone to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Merry Christmas. Congrats for watching. If you have found this video valuable in any way, please ring the bell to see more content like this and not miss a single video. Now, to end this review, I'll read from Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. God bless you all. As a quick reminder, I do not own any copyright to any footage in this film. Disney owns all the rights to it. Also, I abide by fair use laws and am not infringing on copyright. My critique and commentary are transformative and original.